song is Bad Bunny, Tiny Desk. Talking about a nightmare he wrote. Interesting. I guess this could be it. This could be the video. Oh man. So right now I got Tiny Desk concert in my ear, Bad Bunny playing, motivating me moving forward. Why am I acting? It's weird. So let me just start off really quickly. My name's Fernando, licensed marriage and family therapist, and I just have interesting ideas. So I've been wondering, how do I bring my work to more people? How do I bring good information to more than just the people who see me in my office? And it's kind of weird because I kind of really dislike social media. I think at a core level, at best, it does some journaling and some connection, right? Memories, there's some opportunities there, but the cost is so high at times. And do I really want to participate in that? And truth is, like, not really. So ideally, I'd probably let go of this, but there's a part of me that's like, nah, there's something bigger, a bigger purpose. So I just want to talk about my life, talk about my ideas. And I was listening to the book, 7 Atomic Habits. And, this guy's talking about this injury, which set him back athletically, and then how he progressed forward, the ideas, and the creation of this book came from a little newsletter, like just something that he would put out weekly that just grew. He wasn't trying to grow it. He just put something out, or maybe he was trying to grow it, but there was something about that just sort of clicked for me. And so I'm going to just share this. I'm not going to try to grow it. That's not what I'm here for. I'm going to try to deliver good information. If it helps, watch more. If it doesn't, erase it. But I don't want to try to grow. I just want to be and help. So on this walk, listening to 7 Atomic Habits, I decided I'm going to try to document this. Maybe once a week, maybe that'll be like a new habit of mine, and it'll prioritize listening to good information, like, the audiobook, the 7 Atomic Habits, and there are other concepts surrounding all kinds of ideas, from relationship, depression, anxiety, trauma, just psychology, space. Like, it's crazy. My mind goes all over the place sometimes, but it's a good ride. And so I'm gonna do my best to try not to perform. Since I was young, I was like shy and felt uncomfortable, and I think I learned to break out of that through this like image from one of my previous jobs, my first job really, platinum gold entertainment. And I used to do parties and bar mitzvahs and things like that, and I was so shy, and I still am inside, but I learned how to be an MC. I learned how to be an entertainer. And I remember my first gig was with MC Romero, and I don't know, maybe I'll tell that story a little bit later on, but all that to say is that sometimes, and those of you who are in the entertainment business will know what I'm talking about, sometimes when I just want to talk and just be myself, the MC comes out who's here to entertain and make sure that you have the cadence and the tone to have a good time all night long, right? Like all of that nonsense. And somehow it bleeds into a way of being that isn't my intention. So maybe this will be the journey of seeing me knowing how to express that when necessary and how to get rid of it when I really don't want to be that way. So so I'm going to just take some footage, and hopefully you get the audio to this, because I'm listening to Bad Bunny still, which is interesting, trying to talk through it, but it creates a good ambiance, I guess, in the background to just let out my thoughts. But anyways, this is that walk. This is Wednesday. I'm going to go back to the book, and I'll share more about this idea of keeping myself accountable to listening to books and getting good information and just providing reflection on that. For those of you who may struggle with consuming this information, obviously I'm not trying to take away from any of these books and like paraphrase them or anything like that. I just want to expose you to the information I'm exposed to and the thoughts that blend in the middle. So anyways, this is the day one. Hopefully I have the balls to put it out, because I got some things in the chamber that I just haven't shown the world. So this is if I do release this, then know that I'm gonna keep up with it the best that I can. Peace. Whew. Okay. Also, I wanted to clarify some things, or some more things came to mind as I was on this jog thing. It's gonna sound weird. It might sound even mean, but I genuinely don't mean for it to be. I really am not doing this for connection. Well, I'm sure this is probably the most ironic thing, is that this is the opposite of my nature. Like, my whole life is all about connection, but this particularly is more about kind of like journaling. So if you have any ideas or thoughts or things that you want to respond or reply, like, please be assured that I'll probably read everything, but I might respond to nothing. I might make mention of it. Obviously, if there's a positive perspective or something that I need to challenge, maybe your previous video or something, like, more than happy to integrate, let's say. But this is not for debate. That's not why I'm doing this. But if there's something worth it and something that can create a good conversation that can help others, I'd be open to maybe the conversation. But again, the priority is kind of synthesizing these ideas and providing them for others to perceive, and then choose how to implement or reject the information. And along the way, because it's kind of like a journal, you're going to probably see different things about my life. Like family members. My dad's birthday just passed. It was yesterday. Today's Wednesday. See, it's crazy. I know it's July 7th, but sometimes I forget what day it is, just because, life, right? But yeah, and so I might discuss certain things about, life with them and things of that nature. Maybe they'll inspire me a story or an experience, or, my girlfriend, she's interested in doing something like this for herself as well. And I want to support her, but I don't want to pressure her to do it. So we've talked about doing this thing, which is like kind of pulling back from social media for a month. The irony is, will social media promote this video if I post it, right? Because I want to let go of that stuff and just use that time. Every time that we think of Instagram or social media, that we study and study whatever it is. It doesn't matter the topic. It just matters the plan, the intention, the initiative, let's call it, to doing so. Right now, I know she's been studying poker, all of the numbers in that, which has been pretty fun. I can be a bit of a sore loser when it comes to poker. But I do find the information very interesting still, and it has been improving my process. Not that I'm promoting gambling, I promise. But yeah, so you might see different things about life and everything, and I might interact with what is sent to me, but I also have to make sure I prioritize the world that I'm in right here, because it takes a lot of care and time and nurturance, not just for the interactions that I have in real life, but for the self, because we can often neglect the self. So yeah, I just want to add that little bit of information so that you had it. All right, talk later. I have found this interesting rhythm, which is listen to the book, be inspired, talk to you guys, but before I start talking, I'm gonna play that Tiny Desk concert so I can just, have that in the background. So we're talking about this concept of small habits, and the first thing that I thought of was the Kaizen approach, this Japanese approach to change, emphasizing on small consistency over long periods of time versus large change initially, right? Within that realm, we have this thing we call the rubber band effect, basically going so far away from our comfort zone, our body launches us back into it, which we experience. But this approach is a little bit different, and he's emphasizing more on the impact of small change over time, whether they be positive or negative. Good habits or bad habits are the ones that create the most change over long periods of time. And so I was trying to think of how to add to that or how to present that in my office. And the imagery that I kind of came up was, I think people look at these changes that they make and, like he mentioned, like they lose their worth because they're not seeing the immediacy of the results and things of that nature. And when someone tells you something like, well, you will notice this in 6 months, it's like, oh, you mean I gotta do this shit for 6 months before I ever even noticed anything? Like, what? And he has this really interesting concept, but I don't want to give away all of his stuff. Basically kind of saying, there's a moment of eruption when you see this consistency. There's this moment where you don't feel it at all, and then 6 months, bang, it's pretty cool. But I think that perspective of 6 months is so long is really only that perspective because of how we see time or how we don't see time. 6 months is so long is not in perspective of the amount of time we actually have. It's just how we feel in the moment, right? We're present, we're in a moment. So 6 months of time feels like a lot of time when we look at the second, the moment. How long is a moment? And so considering how you want to endure that moment, it's going to be a very different forward experience, let's say. I was just walking, and there's this guy with his dog walking in front of me. And I don't know if you guys watch the show Big Mouth, where there's a dog that knows it's a dog. It like understands itself. It's interesting. And this dog looked just like that dog, and it totally distracted me. He took away that moment, like in that moment, I could have continued what I was talking about, but that moment was powerful. And now I have this telling me that I just went 3 miles. 3 miles, everybody. Hooray. So we live in a moment, and when we reflect back on that moment, the fact is, like, we get anxious. We're usually outside of that moment. We don't even really understand the moment, right? But when we think about these habits over time, we think about 6 months, we see this trajectory, and we're like looking at like this, one of those like triangles, right? Maybe this can do a graph or something. And it's like now 6 months is at the end, right? And it's just like, and then we see like 6 months and a day, and we're like, and that's when we actually get to enjoy this. And it feels like it's the end. It's so far away. But we have way more than 6 months to live usually. If you don't, that's a whole nother topic, and you'll understand how valuable time is at that point. But with this graph, it throws us off versus the graph of like our life. So how many months do you have left overall? Let's say you make it past 60, you make it past 70, you make it past 80, you make it past 90. How many months? How big is that graph? And then you look at like 6 months of that graph, and it's this little sliver of time that impacts the rest of the graph. But it's hard to see that and feel that in the moment because we're so in the moment, which is why this is brilliant, because it's telling you don't focus on the biggest things you can do that just seem to overwhelm you. Although those things it's good information that's helping maybe guide you in the direction that you're trying to truly aim for. But it's not about going from you to that without at least one step in between, right? You know that there's at least one step in between you and that. What if it's 2 steps? What if it's 3 steps? What if it's 20 steps? What if it's 50 steps? Like, it's still you to that. And so improving and in those smaller steps universally creates these big changes over time. And I think it's really, really wise. So yeah, other interesting concepts in there. But if inspiration strikes me, I'm just going to come on here and talk. And I don't even know how I'm going to share this, but we'll see, I guess, right? We'll see how it goes. Maybe I can do this. Oh man, I'm going to want to do this all the time though, because that's a lot of content. That's too much content. How do I best consolidate this experience while also maintaining the habit, right? Because I know for me, what's going to make this work is if I make a habit of it, not if I make an experience of it. So what else in your life are you making an experience instead of a habit? All right, some more goodies. I'm not going to go through each of them, but he kind of gives you some ideas of what has the system fail. But I was thinking about systems and thinking about some of the systems in couples counseling, right? And the things that we try to help people develop, a system of self-regulation, right? The ability to recognize dysregulation, like I'm emotional, so think about the way you live life when you're at peace. Think about what you would do, what you wouldn't do if you were at peace, like if that was the case. This is kind of your neutral state, right? And then some stuff happens and you're like, ow, ow, ow. You don't have like this physical bleed, but you do have maybe an emotional one, right? It's like an internal one. Your sense of self, sense of safety, your sense of anything. And that creates this dysregulation where now we're willing to engage with the world in a way that we normally wouldn't if we were in a state of neutrality, kind of highlighting that maybe I'm dysregulated, right? And maybe there's reasons. It's not to invalidate the reasons. This is what I get to see sometimes, guys. I just start walking home. Look at this family of ducks. How cute, guys. I am so fascinated with nature at times. I'll get back on that. Hopefully you could see them the whole time. Maybe not. Who knows? I thought I was pointing in the right direction. But anyways, so that's how you know you're dysregulated. And so we need systems to help us when it comes to this, so that not only can we regulate ourselves, get ourselves back to neutrality without trying to get someone else to get us back to neutrality, because oftentimes we think that whoever dysregulated us is responsible for regulating us, and I'll tell you a bunch of reasons why that's not the right way of approaching it. And like I said, the dysregulation could be very valid. And oftentimes, either a core need is not being met, either externally or internally. Either way, we're getting dysregulated, and we need to get back to that state of regulation, let's call it. So we need a system to not only do that, but step one, be aware of it. Are you aware that you're dysregulated? Because if you're not, and you don't know how long you can be that way, that's like, not knowing you can become the Hulk for 5 minutes at a time. And then it's like, all right, and not to get mad at you because you got gamma radiation in your body, but even the Hulk is like, what is this? I don't remember what he says. Essentially, the Hulk has his own woo-saw. And if the Hulk got a woo-saw, then all that to say, these systems that we put in place have made me very interested in systems for myself, and one that I think is going to be solid for me is the number 5. It's really uncommon for me to just randomly be like 5, but I think that that's a good way for me to recognize that I'm going above a 4 in terms of my emotions. So I'm going to try to get used to is telling myself five. If something is impacting me above, I'm going above a 4, then I have to be conscious of that and, figure it out outside of myself, and probably healthier long term, is figure it out within myself. And if I can figure it out within myself, that doesn't mean that I just sit and take it forever. It means that I understand what limitations exist, and I don't have to be angry about it. I just have to be aware of it and have a system to, take care of that. But so 5 is that. And then there's another system, and I'm just putting in here because I really want to remember. It's like when people have safe words. Safe words, kind of the same thing. It's like to recognize that I may be dysregulated in a public fashion, right? And that's so hard to say. It's so hard to express that, hey, right now my body and my mind are all kinds of jittery and all kinds of fucked up. I don't know if I can bleep that out. They're all kinds of messed up if I have to. And so we create these safe words, and I think I found mine. So just interesting ideas from an interesting book coming through an interesting brain and out a ridiculous mouth. And again, just trying to do this for myself. So all right, my girlfriend just messaged me. I saw a little heart, so I probably got a little shy, but anyways, yep. Pa'lante. Oh, what? Yo. Systems versus goals. You know what's crazy about this? One of the things that I'll discuss with people is how the goals they may have in their life may be counter value, right? Like they may not understand how they are lacking in certain values in their life, even though they accomplish their goals, right? And I'm sure you've seen people who have accomplished many of their goals, but they look back and they go, why do I still feel unfulfilled? And a large portion of that can be this concept that we can accomplish a goal while abandoning the value, right? Let's say I value trust, honesty, intimacy, connection, but I don't feel that in my marriage. I may have accomplished the goal of getting married, but I don't have the values that I really wanted that were attached to that experience. And this is a more common experience than I think most people are willing to address or even accept, right? I mean, accepting first, addressing second. And most of those don't go, they go by the wayside. We try to solve our partner instead of solving ourselves, which, hey, as a therapist, I'm going to be honest, I fall into it. I fall into it too, because you can be so aware of your surroundings without fully being aware of your internal systems, right? So this guy's just talking about your future is often driven not by the goals that you set, but by the systems you create. Because once you create a system, sky's the limit. So I just think that concept is so awesome, the way that he kind of shared it. It also helped feeling a sense of confirmation in some of the things that I've been trying to support people with when it comes to their value systems. Value-centric life, which is a component of, I'm trying to remember, there's so many different models. So I'm going to be vulnerable. There's a part of my experience that's always been a struggle is names, labels. I often get things crossed and confused because I've just listened and studied so many different things. So I'm like, what was the label of that one concept, but it came from a particular model. Maybe I'll come back and I'll share that model once I find the label. But the concept is sound, more of a value-centric life versus goal-centric. I'm over-explaining, so that's another thing. Anyways, just grabbing footage, and we'll see what this can make. Hopefully you can hear this, because if you can't hear me, then what am I doing? And yeah, I have better cameras at home. I have a microphone. I got all that system setup stuff, right? But I often find myself overwhelmed with all of that. And I've been reassured and and supported by my friends like Brendan and my girlfriend Kanita. You know, they're just like, just put your phone up and just record something. Don't worry about how good it sounds. Don't worry about how bad it sounds. Just do something and build from there. And I tend to want to be a perfectionist and have too much preset up, right? But all that to say that I'm trying to let go of some of that and just document, right? Right, Brendan? Document. And hopefully this can help some people. So, and maybe, not even maybe, I'd be ignorant to not realize that this has value to me, even if none of you watch it. This self-reflection, this conversation, this habit forming, this development of self is valuable for me in and of itself. If only one person, meaning myself, is helped by this experience, making a habit of this experience is going to be worth it. And I guess I'll know it's a habit once I make it one, because right now it's just an experience, but I like it. And if I can help more than one person, then iguana, then even better.